You're listening to the Small and Supercharged podcast with Ria Freeman, episode 153. Hi there, and welcome to another solo episode of the Small and Supercharged podcast. Today, well, it's with me, obviously, because it'd be a bit weird if it isn't. But today we're going to talk all about engagement. Not the kind that you get lovely, sparkly diamond rings from, or other rings. Thinking about jewellery now. But the sort that really matters when it comes to our social media content. And it matters for lots of different reasons. When people engage with our content, it allows us to speak to them. It allows us to grow connections. It allows us to build on what we're doing. And it allows us to reach people. Social media and obviously the joys of the internet puts a barrier between us in terms of it's not the same as speaking to somebody face to face. It just isn't. But when we engage with people, we're making those connections. We really, really are. And today we're going to talk about what engagement is, how to get it, how to give it, how to grow it, how to judge it as well. So first of all, what is engagement? Is it just a funky word? Well, kind of. I mean, a lot of things that we hear on social are brilliant, but they are also kind of marketing buzzwords. And engagement is a little bit like that, but it is the best word for what is being described. So engagement is when anyone takes an action on what we put out there. It's when they take a thing that we can see that shows that they're getting something from what we do. I think a lot of us are very guilty, and this is obviously moving down a bit. As usual, we're going to jump around. Seeing something that we like on social and thinking, oh gosh, that's really cool. Gosh, haven't they done well bringing that out? Oh, I love that colour. I love that design. And we don't do anything about it. And I don't mean we don't go make a purchase. We might make a purchase. Who even knows? But we don't give any signal to that person that that's what we're thinking. We don't like it. We don't comment on it. We don't share it. We don't tag a friend in the comments. We don't do anything. And this isn't a criticism as such, because really we all do it, you know. We all do it. And often I know if there's a link to something, particularly on not on Instagram, but more on, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, wherever, I'll go off down that link and read something, watch something and enjoy it. And then because I've kind of clicked on the link, I forget to go and engage. I forget to go and say, love this, really well done. I just forget. I think a lot of people are guilty of that. And if you're in that boat too, don't beat yourself up about it. These things happen. But engagement is when people take an action on our content. And there are lots of actions they can take. Many of these you can see. So if people like or react on Facebook, because you can't just like on Facebook. You can just put your thumbs up on Facebook, but you can heart, you can put lots of different reactions. If they comment on any platform, if they share, if they save, you can't see who saved, but if they save, if they tag a friend, if they send you a direct message as a result. And I would also have if people are clicking a link. And this isn't a kind of obvious form of engagement because it's not one of these actions that people have taken. But I would also include direct messages in this. And again, when you work out your engagement rate, which is how many people have engaged, divided by your following, and that's how you work out your engagement rate, which is always a hell of a lot lower than you would expect. So I was speaking to someone about this last week, and I've just pulled up the actual numbers on my computer. And obviously feel free to have a look at this. But on Facebook, above 1% engagement is really good. Between 0.5% up to 1 is average. Okay. And on Instagram, it is slightly higher. Again, based on a bit of a Google. 3% on Instagram, 3% is good. Is average, it's average. Anything above that is good. 3%. So don't beat yourself up when you think, oh gosh, I've got all these followers and I've only got 5% engagement. That's incredible. So engagement And as I said, I feel that the direct messages should be included in this. And I also, if I'm on my high horse about this, I also feel that engagement should be weighted differently. So if somebody double taps or likes or reacts, that's amazing, that's brilliant, and that's really kind of them. But you can do that quite quickly. If somebody comments, that takes them longer. So if I was in charge of how to work out engagement rates, sadly I'm not, I would have it so that a like is worth, let's say, 1 point, a comment would be worth 2 points, a share would be worth 3 points, and I'd build it up like that. But what's also interesting to think about is that we can't see direct messages. They don't add to the engagement rate when we're working it out. But often those conversations that happen away from the platform can be the most valuable in terms of people converting to buy a product, or people working with you, or starting a connection or a relationship. So, and this is what I say to quite a few of the people I work with, when it comes to if you're a brand or a business, sometimes when you put up a more salesy post, you won't get the high obvious engagement on it. And this could be that people have looked at something and they've gone off and they've clicked on your link, if it's Facebook or somewhere that's an Instagram, they've clicked on that link and they've wandered off and they've gone and looked what you're talking about. And maybe they've added a purchase, or maybe they've sent you a direct message and they haven't put any obvious engagement on the post. But if someone is going to a destination that you want them to go to, surely that's the ultimate. That's what we do this for. We do this to get our message out there. We do it to connect with people. Different posts have different objectives, really. And if our objective to promote a new product, or to promote a new blog, or to talk about something that we love and to share a product or a business that we love, and that the person that sees that goes off and does the thing we want, surely that is the ultimate. But they don't get added to the engagement rate because it's not a physical thing. So by which I mean, often if I put up a post about, let's say, the mastermind group, and about, what it's about and how people can get involved, often the engagement on that post won't be as high. It won't be as obviously high as other posts will. But in terms of what that adds to my business, they're some of my best performing posts because they're the ones that I get direct messages about. They're the ones I get people sign up to fill in the application form for. But that's not an obvious engagement. They're not necessarily liking or commenting or sharing, but they're learning from it. Anyway, that's a complete tangent. So it's a strong start to the podcast, off on a tangent. So engagement, what is it? It is when people take a positive action on our content, a positive visible action on our content. As I said though, not all engagement gets counted towards your engagement rate. So, it's a funny one. So now we're looking at how do you get engagement? And again, it's a strong question, and there's lots of different ways you can do this. First and foremost, you've got to look at the quality of your content. If you're putting out rubbish content, the chances of you getting that engagement on that content are low because it's simply not very interesting. It's just a bit rubbish. And if you're putting up rubbish pictures, when I say rubbish, I mean blurry, out of focus, like not deliberately out of focus, but blurry, a bit rubbish, a bit dark, a bit overexposed, whatever makes an image rubbish, and there's quite a lot of things that do that, you're unlikely to get engagement on that. You just are. If you put up very, very, very text-heavy posts, it's hard for people to engage with that because they look at it and think, Christ, that's a lot of reading. That is a lot of work there. And if they're busy, they'll just scroll on by. So you need to make sure your content is as good as it can be and it's appealing to your audience. You can do this by testing. So always test. Everyone's audience is different. Your audience is different to mine, and your audience is even different to someone who does something similar to you, because everyone has got unique things about what they do that makes them special. And that means that they will attract different people, slightly different people, and they will have a different audience, and therefore the content that works for them will be different. So test. And when you test, if you've got a business account on Instagram or business page on Facebook, you can look at your insights. Of course, it's fairly obvious to see if you don't have any of these pages. You can look at how many likes, how many comments, you know how many direct messages you've got. But if you can have the insights, it will show you a lot more information about the reach and about how many people liked it, how many people commented, all the different information, which is useful. And then, of course, the dream is to look at that content and go, right, people really love this bit about it. And looking at your highest performing posts and looking for any things that connect them. Are they pictures of something specific? Are they tips about something specific? Are they graphics about something specific? What is it that's working for your audience? So look at your content and look and try and make it the best that you possibly can, and test. Always test, always be learning. Look at what is working for people. Think about making it easy for people to engage with you. And this is by trying to direct them to what you want them to do, by giving them the opportunity to connect, or even asking them to engage. So give us a like if, tag a friend who, share if you, something like that. Give them the opportunity to connect, to do what you want them to do. They don't have to do it, but if you're inviting it, it's much more likely to happen. And this moves on to asking questions and giving what we call a CTA, or a call to action. So you'll notice that a lot of my Instagram posts particularly have a question. They have something that I'm inviting engagement on, I'm inviting feedback on. Because to me, just putting a post going, this is great, is not really very interesting to me. I'd rather say something like, I think this is amazing. What's the best X you've seen? Or I want to get that feedback. I want to get that engagement, because that then allows me to engage back and start a conversation with people. And that's what social media should be about. It shouldn't just be a straight up broadcast platform. It should have a sociable aspect to it. Otherwise, it's just a straight up ad, and that's not what social's about. It really isn't. So ask questions or have specific calls to action. Shop now. When you have, particularly when you have ads, you can have your call to actions like shop now, or find out more, learn more, sign up, these things. I think about how you can direct people to what you want them to do, and don't be afraid to add that into your content. It does help. Consistency. I know I witter on about this so much, but being consistent is important. It helps to people to grow trust in you, to believe in you more, to think you really are there for the long haul. Because when people are more sporadic on social, it can make people doubt them, and not doubt them as people, but perhaps doubt them as brands and businesses they want to give their money to, or doubt them as people they would like to work with. Now, of course, if you don't care about either of these things, that's completely fine. You do you. But if you're, for example, wanting to be an influencer, or wanting to be a brand ambassador or a sponsored rider, one of the things that most of my clients, well, all of my clients would do, or I would definitely do if they asked me my opinion, is I look through their social. I look at their posting frequency. And this doesn't mean they have to post 6 times every day. But if we've got gaps of weeks and months every now and then, I would then be thinking, okay, so from a brand ambassador point of view, I'm not really sure how regularly I'm going to get the content. So does that work for me? And I think with brands, if you're looking to spend your money with a brand and they're very, very patchy on social, I think it would make me think, are they patchy on everything? And I know that is quite a jump to get to, but it's one I've got to a number of times, and one that has stopped me going with one company over another. It really has. And this doesn't mean they have to show up 6 times a day at all. And it doesn't mean that if they miss a day, it's the end of the world at all. But it's a kind of burst, then nothing. Burst, nothing. I like predictability. And I said it's not a case of missing the odd day or doing 3 posts a week or 2 posts a week, but it's when there's just nothing for ages. So be consistent and show up. And of course, when people do what you want, when they comment particularly, comment back. Even if you just thank them for the comment back. Because otherwise, and again, this is an example I use a lot. So if you've been on any of my webinars or you've heard this before, I apologise. But I think it's quite a visual example for me. So when you invite somebody to engage, it's like walking up to someone saying, "Hi, how are you?" You're giving them the opportunity to speak back to you rather than just going, "Hi." Because then they've got to kind of think about what to say next, I think. I know I do when people say it to me. Now, if you say, "Hi, how are you?" and they say, "Oh, I'm really good, thank you," that's giving you the opportunity to say, "I'm really pleased to hear that." So I just think of it as if you're not engaging when people do engage with you, you say, "Hi, how are you?" They say, "Yes, I'm great," and you just blank them and walk off. Don't be that person. Because I find as well that if you do put the effort in and you do engage with people, they're more likely to engage in future posts as well because they feel seen and heard. They've put the time in to engage with you, you put the time in to engage with them back. And if you have an amazingly busy account with loads and loads of comments, amazing. Like, do the best you can. Allocate 15, 20 minutes to go through and answer people, to put that content, to leave some emojis, to show that you care, to just double tap on Instagram or like on Facebook or like wherever, give a double tap, thank them in whichever way, even if it is as quick as you can, double tap for 15 minutes. Don't get banned or don't get an exclusion applied, but you don't have to, write War and Peace to them every time. You can just show that you care and show that you've seen it. So I would absolutely do that. When it comes to how to give engagement, because generally we find that when we engage with people, they engage more with us, and that can kind of help to fuel what we're trying to create. We just need to do what engagement is. So we see a good post that we like, we double tap on it, or we send a reaction. If we see something that we can comment on and say, "Gosh, that looks amazing. Where did you get that from? What does it taste like?" etc., etc. Do it. Don't keep it in your head. Even if you think, "Right, I'm going to spend however long, 15 minutes a day, and I'm going to put that time into engaging with accounts I like. I'm going to use hashtags to find stuff that I haven't found yet to engage with new people. Or I'm going to go through the people that I follow and I'm going to put meaningful comments on 20 posts." That would be incredible. It's really good on social, I think, to put out what we want to receive. And I know that may sound a little bit woo-woo, but it's right and it works. So comment, like, share, save, react, DM, respond, whatever that is how you engage. You engage how you want people to engage with you. It's as simple as that. And make it meaningful. There's a fair amount of information around, making a comment of more than 4 words is good. Engaging quickly when you see things. So there's, again, a lot of stuff around that if you post something and it gets engagement quickly, it's likely to kind of get an organic boost out there because it's seen by whichever platform as valuable content, and that can then make them show it to more people, because when we post our content, it doesn't go to everybody that follows us. So anything like that can help. And again, if you can help give somebody that leg up, you see the content, you're like, "Wow, that's really cool." You double tap, you react, you pop a comment on. Brilliant, amazing. Just be what you want to see. Be what you would like to receive. It really does work. And how to grow it? Do more of what you do and just do it more. Engage more. Think about adding more questions, adding more call to actions. In things like Instagram stories and other places, use those stickers to get that easy engagement as well. Get your polls going. Wherever you can. Ask people questions where it's like a multiple choice, which you can get with a question sticker on Instagram stories. Use the tools available to you to make engagement as easy as possible. And then use that information you've learnt to help develop more content that you think people are going to engage with moving forward as well. So do more of what you do, use the tools available, show up, be consistent, I know engagement sounds like it's something that we talk about a lot. We talk about engagement rate a lot. We talk about engagement a lot. And I think it's great. It's a good thing to be aware of, because when you are looking at potentially ambassadors or sponsored riders or anything like that, looking at their follower number is one thing, and it's useful. It's part of the equation. But looking at their engagement is really, really important. And lastly, I do look at the volume of engagement. Of course, some accounts you can't see likes on Facebook, on Instagram, sorry. But I look at the quality of that engagement as well. And I look at how the person is responding to that engagement. Because, again, if you are a brand, for example, and you're investing in somebody and they get great engagement but they ignore everybody, okay, maybe that's fine. But if they get great engagement and they're kind of answering back and they're supporting people and people are really interested in what they're saying and they're trying to help, that's really, really valuable. So engagement is important, whether it's diamond rings, jokes, you do you. But engagement is important, and it's something that we can influence. We can't always influence it on our own posts. We can do our best. We can put out the best content. We can put it out at the right time. We can do all that we can. But we can influence it for other people. We can be the person that we want to see on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever. We can go and we can reach out to people. We can send those messages. We can be supportive. We can give that engagement as well. And also you do have the benefit that then you're getting your name out there more on other people's content, which might mean people come over and find you because you're showing up and you're being nice and you're being supportive. So it can have an additional knock-on benefit too. So I hope that has helped you. That is the one all about engagement, and just some tips really for how to get it, what it means, what's important, how to grow it, how to give it, how to get it. I feel like I've repeated some of those a few more times. But yeah, it's important, and we do have the opportunity to influence it a bit too. So I hope that's helped. Please do screenshot and share to stories if you have tuned in. I really do appreciate it. And if you're feeling particularly generous, please consider rating and reviewing this podcast wherever you listen. It's great to see that people love the podcast, obviously, because it does take quite a lot of time and energy, both which I'm very happy to give. But it's lovely to see when it makes a difference or when it helps people understand a tricky subject. And of course, if you need any further support with trying to understand social marketing, PR, or how to develop and grow your business, please do check out the Small and Supercharged Mastermind group, riafreemanpr.co.uk, and you will find Mastermind at the top. It's a great group, it's a great membership group where we have plenty of opportunities for people to really shine. We have weekly lives, we have mindset masterclasses each month, marketing masterclasses each month, social media masterclasses each month, social media critiques. There's all sorts going on there, and it's a great place for particularly equestrian and rural businesses to grow. And there have been some incredible stories that have come out of the group, and I'm sure we have an awful lot more too. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you, I'll chat to you next week. Have a good one.